I'm Kutemwa Masafwa, and this is my LinkedIn profile. Welcome to Ignited. So I'm making this video because I personally have reaped so many benefits from being active on LinkedIn. In my opinion, it is a must for every professional. There's just so much to be gained. But I know that not everyone has a positive opinion about it. Maybe you've had some negative experiences. But I will be sharing with you today what is LinkedIn, why do I think it's so important, and then some tips to help you make the most of your time on the platform. So first of all, what is LinkedIn? So this is the world's largest professional network. It's really a great way to connect with people all around the world. In addition to that, it has a lot of other features to it. So it has like a job search, it has LinkedIn Learning where you can get certified for for taking all types of courses. You can also find like newsletters on it, groups, like it really has a lot. I promise they're not paying me to promote the app, but it's really great and I really enjoyed using like the different features of it. And so the next thing is, why do I think it's so important? And I've already kind of like mentioned some of the features that I think are really, really important. But to go through them, we have connection. So it's a great way to stay in touch with people professionally. So for me, when I did my undergraduate degree, I had so many professors who really impacted my career, and I really do want to stay in touch with them. I'm not going to ask them for their Instagram, of course. So I feel like LinkedIn is a great way to keep those professional connections. I can reach them by texting on LinkedIn if I want to. I can also see what's happening in their careers. So it's a great way to, to also keep them in mind. So I can be scrolling through and say, oh wow, they published this paper, and I can reach out and be like, oh, I saw that paper, it was great. Like I feel like it's just a great way to stay in touch professionally. And so in addition to that, I know people have different opinions on connections in general. So I feel like that one for people is like, oh yeah. But then in terms of connections, people that you don't know yet, I feel like it's a great way to meet new people. So I know people connect with me who like maybe have seen something that I have done in my career and they want to do the same thing. So maybe they want my mentorship. In the same way, I can reach out to potential mentors, people I meet at conferences and different things like that. So people have different opinions on whose connections you accept and like, oh, I just want it to be people I know and stuff. But I can see the benefit of also just being open to meeting new people and seeing how your circle grows, on the basis of just being open to connecting with different people that you meet or people that just send you a random connection, and you also being able to do the same and send random connections to people who you think would be great to have in your professional circle. And so that's one of the reasons, connections. The other thing that I feel like is very useful, I already talked about the job search. So when I finished my undergraduate degree, I was looking for a post-bac internship, and it was on LinkedIn where I found so many positions. So it has very good filters. You can filter based on location, based on qualifications. Now, whether or not you should apply directly on LinkedIn, that's something else. I was sort of just using it to find the position, then I would go to the actual company website and apply from there. I feel like that was more effective. But anyway, it does have, like, recruiters do use LinkedIn, so it's a great place to find possible jobs. Then the other thing that I also mentioned is learning. So I have gotten to explore other fields just through like things that I just really wanted to learn, but I want to have proof that I learned. I took like a computer science programming course, a short course. I took one on data science, one on sustainability. So like it's a great place to explore your interests. Now, LinkedIn Learning you have to pay for, but then there are certain organizations that have partnerships with LinkedIn Learning. And look into it. Maybe you're already in one that already has that, but I'm part of the American Chemical Society, and it comes with like LinkedIn Learning with my membership. So it's really great. I've really benefited from using LinkedIn Learning. And like I said, there's so many other features. I think those are the big three that have really impacted me. So that's connections, and then jobs searching, and then learning. And I feel like that's enough for you to maybe change your mind and use the app if you haven't used it yet. And so now, making the most of it. So I've already talked about connections and how for me I try my best to reach out to people who I meet, like either at the conference right there, I'm like, oh, do you want to connect on LinkedIn? Or my professors, I would send them an invite. Some of them told me that they would rather not, anyway. But the point is, like, you really don't lose out from sending an invite connection. The worst thing someone could do is not accept it, and so yeah, whether it be my peers in class, like I always have a day when I'm just sitting down like searching and sending connection requests, and people will connect. So that's a great way to do that. Like I said, if you see people who you're inspired by, you can not even like, if you don't want to connect, you can also just follow them. So in that way you get to see what's happening in their journeys and stuff like that. But great place to meet people, to form mentor-mentee connections both ways, you being the mentor, you being the mentee. Yes. Then the other thing is is like you having a resume. I really see it as that. I really see your profile as a resume. So many people will come and see your profile for different reasons. Sometimes it's a recruiter who's looking to hire and try to see if you have the right skills that they need for the job. Other times it will be just like peers who maybe like who already know you, but they just kind of want to know what's happening in your life professionally. It may also be people who like potentially want to be where you are. So like potential mentees. Could also be like, I don't know, potential mentors who are just like, you know, who are maybe they love your post and they just want to see what's happening and stuff like that. So because of that, I really feel like if you have a profile, it should be complete because it really is a resume. Like you never know who's looking at it. You don't know what could come out of it. And I think it's just a great first impression that like, you know, it shows effort. You're very intentional about, you know, the image that you're putting out there. So I won't go in depth into each section of the profile because I feel like that is so subjective. But I will share some of the things that I feel like are features that that you should take advantage of. So there's the profile picture, which should be, if you have it, I think it should be professional. I mean, there's many ways to do that. You could as well use your phone and take a really good picture. It doesn't have to be like HD, you know. Another way, I think AI these days is very advanced. Like if you give it a picture of yourself, it can generate a professional image. Whether or not that is ethical, I will not go there, but I'm just saying it's an option. So yes. Then the cover photo, again, people use it for different reasons. I feel like many people use it to kind of show some element of who they are. So I wanted to, like mine, I'll show it up here somewhere, has a quote on it, my favorite quote, and just like a picture of me and my email if someone wants to reach me, because it's kind of hard to find like the email on the LinkedIn profile itself. So I wanted that to just be like up there, and some people have emailed me over the past few years. So yeah, it's a great place to have your contact information. And so there's that. Then there's the headline, which also is very different based on your career and like your field. I know many people in computer science would put like, you know, all the acronyms of like the person like SWETFG, and I'm like, I don't know what that means, but it would mean a lot to a recruiter. So that is also very subjective. I chose to go with the approach where I'm just broad, so I'm not putting like the specific things that I like, all the internships I've ever done and blah blah blah, but I'm just putting like where I am, qualification, and then like some of the things that define me as a person. So mine is very general. I like it that way, but it's going to be up to you. And then there's under that there's like your about, which I don't know if many people read, but I wanted it to not be like I am a motivated person looking for what. I wanted it to be interesting. So if someone does decide to read it, they're learning something about me. So that is very subjective again. And then there's the featured, which I feel like you should take advantage of. So the thing is, as you post on LinkedIn, which hopefully you will, and I'll talk about that a little later. But yes, as you post on LinkedIn, there's going to be like as you repost, it comes as a post. So if someone is scrolling through, they most likely will see your last reposted, if that's the last thing you did. And it takes a lot to find your posts on your profile. So the featured section really highlights, a couple of, you can use it to highlight specific posts that you feel really define you or something in your career. So as someone in chemistry, I put like, poster presentation. And then there's a website, which I will talk about, which I built, which I feel like is kind of central to why many people ended up following me in the process. But so I featured that also, so it's like prominently there on my profile. Then in terms of the actual sections, there are many sections. There's like education, it's like professional experience, or like organizations that you're a part of. Like there's so many things that you can add, publications. So that is very much up to you. But it's also a great place to list down your skills, so that if someone is just like, they can kind of get a broad picture of this is what you've done and this is what you have. And especially if your recruiter is scrolling through, that will be very, very important. So I will say, if you have it, fill out your profile. Just pick a random day, play some music, I don't know, and just like fill out your profile. And in terms of updating it, I don't update mine all that often, but I try my best to update it like at the beginning of each, like maybe semester, or at the end, so that I'm staying current on the qualifications that I have and so on. So yes, so that's completing your profile, which I think is really important. Then I talked about posting and how it's really important. So I know that there are many people who do not post on LinkedIn because it feels like showing off. I know, because I was one of those people. But I realized, it's just mentality. One thing that my advisor used to tell me in my undergraduate degree, thank you, my advisor. But yes, something he used to tell me is that if you don't tell people, how will they know? So sometimes it's just about being visible, right? And we already talked about how many people are looking on LinkedIn, possible recruiters, possible people that you could work for, like maybe advisors and stuff like that, mentors who you could have. have, and even your peers as well, right? So there's many reasons to post on LinkedIn. It's not just showing off. You are staying visible. So it means that if I share like, oh my goodness, I love writing articles, and I share like, oh, this is what I have done and stuff like that, then someone else who sees an opportunity, who has me in mind, can also send me that opportunity, right? And then it just makes everyone aware of what you're doing. And so even in terms of mentees, right, if people see like, oh, I did this internship and someone is applying, they can reach out on that and be like, oh, I saw you did this last year, I'm trying to do it, any advice and stuff like that. And mentorship is really, really important. And so I feel like that's a great stream of mentees just waiting for you to help people to lift as you climb in your professional journey. So there's many reasons that I feel like posting is a must. It's really important. So in terms of posting, let's talk a little bit about that. There's many reasons that people will like interact with your post, or your post will be very impactful. And I feel like it's important for every post to be impactful. I mean, if you're going to post, might as well make the most of it, right? So there's many things that will make your post valuable. That's the first thing, is value. So are you teaching something? Is there some perspective that you are sharing about you, right? Like can someone learn something from your post? Then the other thing is it being personal. Like I said, if people follow you on LinkedIn, it will most likely be because you have some perspective that they want to learn from. So you sharing generic, oh, I googled these 3 things is not going to be as impactful as you sharing like, oh, this was my personal experience and this was what I got from it and stuff like that. Then there's other things which is just like, oh, it's sharing your achievements, celebrating, especially if you have people in your network who know you and will just be very happy, like, oh, I graduated from undergrad, oh my goodness, like wow, just celebrating that achievement that you have. And so in terms of posting, there's many things to do. I think it's important to have those 3 types of posts, like broadly, you having value, something that's just like personal to you, and then something that's an achievement. Because I feel like we also fall into the trap of only posting achievements, which also, I mean, it depends on what image you're trying to paint to other people, but I feel like it's also important to just have just post about you, what's happening in your life. Also, like some people also post failures. I have done that as well in the past, like just sharing, and I feel like people also connect with that. So it's a possible way to impact your network, like how you post, what you post. And it's not just about like, oh, when I win the Nobel Prize and then we'll post on LinkedIn. But it's a great way to in as much as you're staying visible, you're also pouring into those around you. Which will also lead you to have more people who follow you, yay. And then going into like some of the other features and how you can make the most of them. I already talked about the job search, how you can use that and find positions. And even as you do that, I feel like LinkedIn is really a tit for tat thing. So if you are scrolling through and you see something that's relevant and you share it with someone, the next time they see someone, they'll share it with you. So it's like a tit for tat thing where as you share, even in terms of posts, right? You're not only sharing opportunities, other people will also be sharing opportunities with you as well. So it's like you're pouring out, but you're also drinking from other people. Yes, so LinkedIn jobs is great. As you see jobs, share them with people who you think they're relevant to. I feel like that's a great practice. And even posts that you feel like, oh, I want to share with this person, it will really like grow your giving back, with your network and build more personal connections as you go. The LinkedIn learning that I already mentioned, great way to explore, especially outside of your field, because like I'm not going to go there on there to take a chemistry class. Like I have my chemistry degree, like in terms of like actual like content of what I've already taken. But I can go there and do like a business. I think it's one of the main advantages. It's a great way to explore outside of your field, at least in my opinion. It's a great way to just be exposed, because I'm not going to do a business degree, but I do want to have base information. That also helps you to connect more with people who are in that field, because you kind of know what they're doing, and maybe sometimes it's like vaguely relevant to you. So it's really a great way to build yourself up. And then I talked about like the other features, like I think I mentioned the groups and the newsletters. So again, a great way to have like more connections. I've never really used groups that much, and I don't know how effective they can be, but I think it's a great way to find people who are interested in the same things that you are, and possibly even keep sharing opportunities and keep growing. And the newsletters, you can follow people who will keep impacting you, and it's a great way to keep learning and growing professionally. So it is really a well of so many opportunities, and I really hope that you make the most of it. One thing that I love about LinkedIn is it really emphasizes value of over like numbers. So if you check your and I just found this out as I was doing like slight research, but I found that like when you have the top of the profile, so it will show you the number of followers, but it won't show you the number of connections if you're above a certain number. So it will show you like 500 plus, and I watched a video explaining how they do that because they don't want you to be obsessed about the numbers of connections. It's really about value. So it doesn't matter whether you have 2,000 or 7,000, it will still say 500 plus, because connections are meant to be quality. You're really pouring into your network, and I'm working on doing that more. So like interacting with people's posts more. I'm not just waiting for them to like mine. I'm also interacting, congratulating, I'm reaching out, I'm remembering them when I find opportunities and things like that. And it's really a good way to just be aware of what's happening. In addition to you seeing like other opportunities from other people, you can also just see like, what's happening in the world, in the field of science and data. You can follow organizations on it and just be current on what's happening. So LinkedIn is great. Let me know in the comments if you have anything particular that you want me to maybe go more in depth about, or maybe you have something to share about LinkedIn, maybe an experience or maybe some other benefit that I missed out. But thanks so much for watching. We are Ignited.